Okay, so here we are with another DC Multiverse, DC Direct Page Punchers unboxing, and this is Superman from Kingdom Come. The comic that comes with Superman is not Kingdom Come. It's an issue of Justice Society of America where they brought this version of Superman into the mainstream DC continuity. This is based on artwork by Alex Ross, who did the artwork for Kingdom Come and did these covers for these Justice Society stories and came up with the story for Kingdom Come, which is an alternate future in which the superhumans have basically grown in number, and they've kind of lost their way as far as being what superheroes should be. And Superman himself is returning from a self-imposed exile to show the kids how it's done, but it's not going to work out as well as he hopes. So if you haven't read the story, read it. It's like one of the best Superman stories of all time. Even though it's supposed to be just kind of like a story of the future of the DC universe, it's really a Superman story. I'd say it's probably about the equivalent to Superman that like Dark Knight Returns is to Batman. So definitely worth reading. Anyway, let's go ahead and open them up. It's one of these where it's in this plastic package, so I had to get these scissors to open it up. And mine, the package is not in the best of shape, actually. I got this from, was it GameStop? I got it from. And I don't even necessarily think it's their fault that this thing got chipped up on the edges. It's just the type of packaging this is. But if I was the type of person who wanted to leave a figure mint in the package, I'd probably been disappointed by that. But of course I'm not. That's why you're here. So yeah, let's go ahead and get them opened up. And I'm going to be careful because I know something fell out of that Supergirl package the other day, and I think it was just some kind of piece of the packaging, but we're going to be careful with it anyway. So here's the comic book. There's a better look at that. And a really nice cover. And the artwork in this is Dave Eaglesham. Is it Eaglesham or Eaglesham? I'm not quite sure. Jeff Johns wrote it. His run on Justice League Justice Society is one of my favorite runs of any comic book of all time. I know that there is some controversy about Jeff Johns these days, and a lot of it's deserved, but you know, I'm not gonna lie. I will say that JSA, that was one of my favorite runs of any superhero comic ever. So that was some good stuff. All right, so let's go ahead and get some of these accessories out of here. And when I say accessories, I mean just the figure stand. He doesn't have anything in terms of well, he's got some extra hands. But that's about it. All right, so here we go. And let's see if I can get this trading card out without damaging it, because it's tricky to do with these things. Okay, good. It looks like a little slight foxing in the corner, but other than that, it was in pretty good shape. They don't really these packages just aren't conducive to the condition of the trading cards. But honestly, that looks more like it's where it just didn't quite cut right. So that's unusual. Here's what the back of the card looks like. This actually is a cover from Kingdom Come. I believe that's Kingdom Come number 2, I think. But yeah, it reads. It might be Kingdom Come number 1. It might be number 2. I don't remember. Anyway, Page Puncher, Superman, real name Kal-El. Doesn't say Clark Kent. You should read this comic if you haven't read it. Set at the dawn of the 21st century in a world spinning out of control, Kingdom Come is a riveting alternate reality story pitting the old guard, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and others, against a new, uncompromising generation of heroes in a war that will determine the future of the planet. And again, one of those where it's not really a bio of the character and just kind of a description of the storyline. And again, kind of funny is that, Kingdom Come is not the comic that this particular Superman comes with. But those were all prestige format books, and that would be a very large comic to. And any one single issue of it would be a very large comic to fit into one of these page punchers packages. And even then, even though it was distributed serialized in 4 issues, I kind of feel like Kingdom Come is one of those comics that's best read as a whole. You know what I mean? You don't want to just read the first chapter of Kingdom Come. You want to read the whole story. Whereas I kind of feel like, and I haven't read this in a while, but I kind of feel like this works better as like just giving you a taste of something. Anyway, so he comes with a flight stand. That's good because every action figure should come with an action figure stand, and every flying figure should come with a flying stand. So get that set aside, and then we can move on to the figure itself. And this figure, like a lot of newer Superman figures, it uses the body that we first saw in that Earth 2 Superman. There's a closer look at the figure. And if you remember from my unboxing of that Earth 2 Superman figure, I said at the time, not only that I hoped that it would be used for a lot more Superman figures in the future, which of course it has been, but I said that I hoped that it would be used specifically for an Alex Ross Superman because I thought it looked a lot like the way that he usually draws Superman's costume anyway. So we got double rubber tabs around the torso, and we got a rubber tab around each of his shins, and it looks like a rubber tab around each of his wrists. So he's good and tabbed in there. So not quite as some of these Mcfarlane figures have gotten to the point where they're not using as many rubber tabs, and I definitely approve of that. I don't like the rubber tabs. But none of these were particularly difficult to get to, so that's good. All right, go ahead and get the hands out of there, and they're both these open hands. If you've seen me talking about this mold of Superman, you've seen me talking about these hands. All right, so go ahead and get him out of here, and I'm going to be as careful with this cape as possible. But yeah, I would not be surprised, and I think I said this at the time also, I would not be surprised if this was actually a figure that they had designed to be this version of Superman specifically, or at least an Alex Ross Superman. Pretty much, if they did a regular Alex Ross Superman, it would be this same figure, just with the more traditional Superman type emblem and the yellow belt, and probably a more vibrant shade of blue. He usually gives Superman a darker shade of blue, but usually it's a little more vibrant than this. It's a little more muted in the Kingdom Come version. It was very much inspired by the coloring on the Fleischer Superman, which we'll be opening that hopefully sometime very soon. Denislav Petrov is here, and he says hello, hello, right back at you. So we're opening up Kingdom Come Superman right now. Now, Superman does not have the traditional yellow S emblem on the back of his costume. He doesn't have the traditional Superman emblem at all. Alex Ross designed this Superman emblem to look like as if the idea behind this was the way that Superman's emblem kind of morphed in shape from like his first appearance in 1938 all the way to the 1950s, where it finally solidified into the final form of Superman's emblem, as we can see on this Supergirl figure right here, the classic version of the Superman emblem. It kind of finally solidified. I believe this version of the Superman emblem was designed in the 1970s to put onto merchandise. That one specifically, but yeah, the idea was if the emblem had continued to change and evolve and would have become this more simplified Superman emblem. That's why I don't really like that they used it as like the regular Superman emblem in the James Gunn Superman movie. That kind of defeats the purpose, as it were. It's not supposed to be like the emblem of a Superman that's only been around for 3 years or so. It's supposed to be like like a Superman emblem that's changed over time. So they didn't get it. They just didn't. They just thought it looked cool and used it. That's all it was. So anyway, great head sculpt on this guy. Really does look like the Alex Ross version of Superman, and I think it's probably because of the way the eyebrows are done. There's like almost kind of like a look of uncertainty on the character, which again fits that story pretty well, since it's a Superman who's been in kind of a self-imposed exile for several years, and he's questioning his own actions. But yeah, it's the same body that we saw on the Earth 2 Superman, and the Justice League Task Force Superman, and a few other Supermans since then. This is going to be the next figure I open up, by the way. It's going to be the so-called Silver Age Superman. It uses that same body. The Strange Lives of Superman, which I'm hoping I'll be able to get a hold of soon. Hopefully, I'll run across that one, because I'm a big fan of Kurt Swan, like I mentioned before, and that's a very Silver Age Kurt Swan figure. Anyway, let's go ahead and talk about his articulation. Oh, real quick before I talk about the articulation, I do want to talk a little bit more about the coloring. He's got, like I said, kind of a more muted shade of blue, very bright red, which is good. And then, of course, the black on the belt with the gold buckle, black and red emblem. We're Batman, says Earth Dude. We are indeed. All right. So now let's talk about the articulation. So Superman can look up about that far. That's going to work really well for flying poses. He can look down about that far. That's going to look really good for hovering above you, looking down judgmentally kind of poses, which he does a few times in that comic. He can kind of tilt his head sort of quizzically from side to side, rotate the head all the way around. Of course, the arms rotate all the way around the shoulders, and they're on that cool Mcfarlane butterfly joint. The butterfly joints on this body tend to be kind of loose as opposed to other ones. Remember how I was talking about on the false god Superman, I was kind of stuck. This is like the opposite. Look how easily I'm barely putting any effort into that at all. Denislov says, love the videos. How many figures do you have in your collection? I've lost count like years ago. I couldn't possibly tell you. Tell you what, go back and count every single unboxing video I ever did. And that's just a small fraction of. Remember, I've been buying action figures for, nigh on, I mean, it's got to be almost 50 years now. Almost. Yeah. I mean, think about it. Like the earliest action figures I remember owning, I would have been like 2 years old at the time I would have got them. Yeah, so we're talking a really long time, and not all of those I still have. The earliest figure that I have in my collection that I still have from my childhood is my original Mego Spider-Man, and even that one's got some replacement parts on it. I don't have a whole lot left from my childhood, unfortunately, because I played with my figures a little rough, so they'd get broken, they get lost, they lose pieces. I do have out of my Superpowers figures, which is one of my favorite action figure lines ever. I still have my original Superman. I still have my original Darkseid, and I still have the front of the Hall of Justice, which you see in lots of my thumbnails where I do DC characters. The Hall of Justice that's in the DC characters. Yeah, that's my original Hall of Justice when I was a kid. Earth Dude says he's got the clobbering size fists. Yeah, this is a Superman with fairly big hands. I don't think that they're too out of proportion with the figure, since he is like a big bulky figure. So they are like slightly out of proportion, but just ever so slightly. I think it's not as bad as, like, say with this Superman. Well, where this Superman body, you can tell he's a little leaner than this guy, but his fists are I think slightly bigger than maybe even than, if I compare it, the knuckles. Yeah, they're definitely a little bit bigger, just ever so slightly. This is the other Kurt Swan Superman that I have. So this is the one where they did really. This is more like the '80s Kurt Swan look, but that Strange Lives of Superman, that's more like a 50s and 60s Kurt Swan look. So I'm looking forward to getting that one. Oh, I can't wait to get that figure. I'm excited about that one. All right, so where was I on articulation? Oh yeah, he's got a bicep cut, of course. He's got a bicep swivel, so bicep rotates all the way around. He's got double jointed elbows. That is about the range of motion you get at the elbows. Excellent range of motion there. He, of course, has the cool Mcfarlane wrist articulation. So you can move these wrists around pretty much any which way you would want to. Very cool. Love the Mcfarlane wrist articulation. That's something I'm definitely going to miss when the license goes over to Mattel. And like I said, if they do figures of this quality, I'll be happy. But even then, like the wrist articulation, it's fine on these figures. Don't get me wrong, but it's not as good as the Mcfarlane wrist articulation. I'm throwing that out there. So Bobby Wald is here, and he says, "You know what they say about big fist, big gloves? Yes, they do indeed." So yeah. I was watching How I Met Your Mother, and I was watching the slapping episode, and when Marshall slaps Barney, and he says, "Oh, your hands are huge," and Marshall says, "Well, you should know that. You've seen my penis." This is not a show for kids. All right, so where was I? Oh yeah, articulation. So we got the cool Mcfarlane torso articulation, so you can move that around pretty much any which way you want to. Rotates also all the way around at the torso, where the rib cage meets the abs, and where the abs meet the waist. Rotates all the way around. And we can bend that backwards. And like I said, you can get some good flying poses out of this guy. Ah, doesn't that look great? We'll get more into that in a second. Trust me, we're going to get more into that in a second. So Superman can kick up about that far. He's got like a little bit of rotation here, not a whole lot, but a little bit of wiggle room, so you can get some more movement out of that. He can do the splits, no problem. He's got double jointed knees. That's about the range of motion you get at the knees. No boot cut, even though it does seem to be a separate piece of plastic where the boot meets the calf. So they could have put a little bit of extra articulation in there, but they didn't. But that's fine because we still got the cool Mcfarlane ankle articulations. The ankle rotates all the way around where the ankle meets the shin, and the ankle rotates all the way around where the ankle meets the foot. So there we go. His foot can point down about that far, point up about that far, and then he's got toe articulation just to show off. All right, so this is a great figure. This is got to be one of my favorite Superman figures that I've ever opened on this channel. And definitely if we were to narrow it down to Superman figures that are more sort of like alternate versions of Superman rather than being like the more traditional, the classic Superman costume. As far as like alternate costumes for the figure go, or for the character, this is definitely one of my favorite figures that we've seen thus far. And if you've seen enough of videos where I unbox Superman figures, you know there's something I like to do, and I did neglect to do this with the false god Superman, but I've done it with that Henry Cavill Superman before, so we know that it'll work. And with the false god, I was more interested in getting him into that statue pose anyway. So Earth Dude says, I like that classic. Yeah, he's really cool. The only thing they did wrong with this one, I think, is that they really should have given him new trunks. This is more based on like a more modern style of Superman outfit. Lee Brahimo, I think, is the artist. I think they or Brahimo. I don't know how you pronounce that, but he has his own distinct way of drawing Superman's belt, and I kind of feel like it would have worked better if he had the classic Superman belt. But you know, it's still a great figure, I think. And then Earth 2 says that high posable cape is really neat. Oh yeah, I've been loving the wired capes on the Mcfarlane figures, and that's something else I'll miss when we go over to Mattel, because Mattel doesn't usually do wired capes. You know, it's possible that they might look at some of the stuff Mcfarlane did and carry over some of that stuff but I'm not holding out hope for it. I'm sure they'll be nice, high quality figures. Will they match up with Mcfarlane? I don't know. I guess we'll see. But yeah, so we can get him into the classic Kurt Swan type Superman flying pose very well. I've done this with this Superman body a bunch of times too, but I like to do it. That's like my classic Superman. Yeah, I love that. So anyway, I think that's pretty much it for the Kingdom Come Superman. He is definitely a recommend as far as I'm concerned. This is one of my favorite Superman stories ever in comics. And if you haven't read it, like I said, check it out. It's definitely worth reading. It is absolutely a classic Superman tale. It's one that I kind of feel like isn't as much a part of the conversation as maybe it should be at this point. I think it's kind of got overshadowed by stuff like Red Sun, and Red Sun is great. I love Red Sun, but this is to me one of the best Superman comics ever written. Yeah. Oh, he's awesome. So, and I love this particular Superman body. I kind of feel like this is my favorite of all the Superman bodies. McFarlane's done a bunch of Superman bodies. Like they've done this one. They've done the Frank Miller version. They've done the Action Comics 1000 version. I don't think that there's a bad Superman body that they've done, but this one is definitely my favorite that they've done. And like I said, I kind of feel like this was a body that was actually designed to be the Alex Ross version of Superman, like from the beginning. I kind of feel like they probably just put it on the Kingdom Come the Earth 2 Superman because they already had it in the pipeline. Let's go ahead and use it on something. And it's such a great body. How can you not use it on things like the Justice League Task Force and things like that? But they finally got around to doing a proper Alex Ross Superman with this body, and I hope they do like the more traditional Superman costume as well, because I think that would look really cool. I'm surprised that they didn't just do a platinum edition of this and make that the version of Superman with the more traditional emblem. But Bobby Wald says, somewhere in my collection, I have what looks like a Micronauts Cyber Superman. Well, that sounds really cool. I know that like when Mego was doing Micronauts in the 70s, that was when they did those collector edition figures. They did Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, and the Hulk. And those were originally supposed to be, I think they were released this way overseas, but not here in the United States. Those were originally supposed to be figures that had magnetic joints, so you could take them apart, kind of like Baron Karza in Micronauts. How he had the magnetic joints, but they were only released that way in Europe, I think. That's not what you're talking about, because it's not a cyber Superman. It's just a regular Superman. It just kind of made me think, but with the Micronauts Superman connection, I'm pretty sure that they were inspired to make those figures by their making of Micronauts. So, but is it the one that they put out in the 90s? Because I think I kind of vaguely remember something like that they put out in the 90s. But like Microman, I think is what they called it in Japan. They licensed some DC characters and did a few of those. I had a 2-pack with Batman and Batgirl, but I don't think I ever had any of Superman. So Earth Dude says Baron's back, but no magnets. Kind of static, I think. Okay. Like is that the what was it? Super 7? The 3 3/4 inch, the retro figure. Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. I think I've seen that. So I know that like I think it was back in like the late 90s they did a reissue of Baron Karza, and I think that the quality on those figures, from what I understand, they weren't quite as good. Like they weren't quite as sturdy as the original Mego slash Takara Micronaut slash Microman figures. But I think I think I've seen that one, the Super 7 figure. I think I've seen that one. Uh, this one, Volleyball said this one is close to 2000, has is metallic blue and has a metal face. The cape is rigid for a robot. Oh, I think I is that a DC Direct one? I think I know which one you're talking about. Is that the one like 4 inch? Okay, that's not what I'm thinking of then. I'll have to look that up. I'll have to look that up. 4 inch. Yeah, that sounds like it would be in scale with Microman. It might be that Microman line that I'm talking about. I don't remember if they did a cyber Superman or a robot Superman or anything like that. I know they did some kind of Superman figure. I just can't remember what they because I didn't have that one. I just had the 2 pack of Batman and Batgirl, and I know they did another Batman just by himself, and that they did like I'm pretty sure they did Catwoman. But yeah, at the time, like they weren't really making like no company really was making a whole lot of 3 3/4 inch figures. I think it was like right before Hasbro really started doing GI Joe again, and I think the only 3 3/4 inch figures that were around were Star Wars, which they had to make those 3 3/4 inch because they wanted to reuse the old vehicle molds. That's why those are 3 3/4 inch figures. It was just because of the vehicles. That's the only reason why. Yep. Uh, but yeah, I think that's it for this episode. I think I've said everything I have to say. If you enjoyed it, please make sure you like and subscribe. YouTube likes it when I say like and subscribe, so I like to say like and subscribe. I like to say to subscribe and to like, so like and subscribe. Apparently, if you like and subscribe, more people will see the video and then they will like and subscribe, and YouTube likes that engagement. So in service of the algorithm, I have to say that. Leave a comment down below. I like it when you leave comments. Let me know what you think about Superman, the character in general, the Kingdom Come version of Superman specifically, and this figure more specifically. And wouldn't you like to see the standard version of Superman in Alex Ross's style using this mold? I think Mcfarlane has time to rush one out before this year is out. Remember, they've got the license till next June, so they've got like 11 months left by my count, going on 10 because we're getting closer. But yeah, it would be really nice to see. If not, I'm gonna have to get a second one of these and repaint them myself. We'll see if that's even feasible or possible. If nothing else, I would like to have an extra one of these to like keep in the package, just because I do like this version of the character so much. But that's it for this episode. Hope you enjoyed it. Next episode, I will be back. Like I said, we got more Superman stuff to cover than I can just cover in a single week. So we're going to open up this Silver Age Superman on our next episode. And then we've also got Cyborg Superman to open up. That one I know is the Cyborg Superman. Oh, we got another comment here from Bobby Wald. I can't remember what company it was, but they were doing a bunch of different ones like Predator. Yeah, that might have been. I'm gonna have to look. Is now I'm curious about it. But yeah, I'm pretty sure when Takara brought back Microman at that time, they did like a bunch of licensed characters, and I kind of seem to vaguely remember Predator might have been one of them, but my memory might be playing tricks on me. I am an old man, so sometimes. Anyway, that's it for this episode. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll talk to you next time. Bye. Da, da, da,